Hi everybody, this is Chris here, just going to run through Stat Attack Extra today, as requested by a user. If you have a request for a video, please do give me an email. So to access Stat Attack Extra, you use the daily menu and get into the tool here. If we run quickly through the page, you've got the help section at the top, click that for a read. You have the box itself, which starts here, which controls the output. We'll ignore that for now, we'll come back to it in a minute. You have an Excel and CSV download options, which I would hope are self-explanatory. Click them, get them into your format of your choice, and then you can play around with the data as you wish. The data itself is based on what you've input in the above box, but as we've just entered the page, it just simply dumps everything initially. So if we run through the table display of the data and what each of the bits of information are. So I'm recording this on the 4th of September, and initially everything that's displayed is ordered by the number of career runs, as you'll see up there here. So today Red Cape is the horse who was ran the most number of times, so we're going to quickly run through his data to show what the table's actually displaying. So it's number 13 on the race card. There's the link for the horse itself, you can click that. It's 12 years old. Its BHA official rating is 49. It's the 4:30 Newcastle it's running in. These are all links you can click where it's underlined. And then the next boxes are runs, wins and places for the tests named above. So career, it's ran 164 times in its career. It's won 19 of those, etc. So when I initially developed this tool, it was called the Stat Attack Profiler when I was writing it. You can see actually the name of the page is Stat Attack Profiler, and that's because if you go to any horse, so this one we're looking at, the profiler, as I've spoke about before, is very handy because it's highlighted in yellow all the conditions today. And the idea for Stat Attack Extra was, well, why not put a number of those all next to each other, and people can, if they wish, call up certain characteristics and quickly identify horses that they might want to explore further. So as I always say, some people will find that this tool's hopeless, and other people will think it's amazing. That's the nature of horse racing, really. I mean, I think that this tool can be very useful to quickly jump in and look for horses that are maybe standing out and needing a bit more exploration. So quickly continuing through these examples. So next 3 RWP is track. So Red Cape has ran 6 times at Newcastle. It's won once. And going distance jockey, it's the same. Each RWP refers to the horse in the table and the track distance combination, for example, in this row here. So taking that example further, Red Cape is running in the 4:30 at Newcastle, which is a 6 furlong race. So Red Cape has ran 4 times on the track and distance, and it's not won, but it has placed once. And that's what each of these statistics mean. And as I say, initially the table just shows every single horse of the day and their statistics for each of those tests. But you can manipulate that data to report back information of your choosing. So I'll give a couple of examples. Let's say we just wanted to look for horses who have won 10 times or more in their career. So you change that win drop down to 10 and click apply. And then all horses who've won 10 times or more are displayed. And that's them today. You can then reset all values to 0. And that's what each of these run, win and place drop downs do. So next, let's say we're looking for horses who've won 3 times or more at the track. And that brings a list of those up. So today there's actually not many horses who've won 3 or more times at the track. And maybe they would be of interest, but I want a bigger set to show an example. So let's say we're looking for horses who've won in the handicap type today. So we just change that to a 1. Make it that they've run at least 4 times. And sort it by the number of handicap runs. And apply. So there's quite a lot of them. And here's the statistics here. So another thing that can be useful is, obviously this information can be a bit overwhelming at times. There's so many boxes showing numbers in them that you can change the show all columns to show changed categories only, and click apply, and then only those that we have changed are shown. And you can also maybe now that we've got that, we want to apply an odds filter. So let's just look for horses who are, say, between evens and 6 to 1 today, and there they are. And really, that is what the tool is for. It's again, like so many tools, down to each user's discretion as to what they find useful, what they want to look at further. You might want to lay some of these horses, you might want to back them, you might want to stick them on your watch list. So let's reset all values to 0 and use another example. This time we'll just go for a particular race. So since we were looking at that 4:30 at Newcastle, let's choose the 4:30 at Newcastle. And we're looking for horses in that race who have won at least once at the track. Let's also make them win at the distance. And it's only Red Cape actually in that race that's won, so let's just check that that's correct. Let's go to the track on the race. You'll see only Red Cape has won at the track, but he's ran so many times that that can be a bit misleading. And then at the distance, quite a few have won. So let's change that back then from tracks. We don't need a track winner. We'll change it to they've won at the track at least once in that race. And there's all the horses that have won over the distance, which is 6 furlongs. So then let's say we were thinking, okay, let's hope that they've won on the class. Again, there's quite a few. Change that to a 2. And then we'll say show all columns that we've changed only. And then you see Red Cape again with his ridiculous number of runs he's had. He's won 8 times in the class. Amis Rumis has won 4 times in the class, 3 times over the distance. Say we wanted to just show the career runs, you could just quickly change that to a 1 just so we can have a quick look. And the same goes for, say, if you want to just see how many times it's actually won in the class, just change the drop down and then click apply, and it will actually show the information that you've changed. If you wanted to see them all, I'm sure that's fairly obvious, just reset that all to 0 and select the race that you wanted. And that's every single horse that's running in the 4:30 at Newcastle today, with all of its information for these 10 tests next to each other. And then you would, as you wish, play around with it. So the Stat Attack Extra is, I guess, as the name suggests, it's like a lot of statistics on one page, which you can sort of get your teeth into, maybe narrow it down to a few horses, and then head off to other parts of the site to examine them further. I'll just quickly go through all the different options in this box that controls it, just in case they're not clear. So the stat type is shown across the top, so it's the career. Then you change, if you wanted to change it so that it's career runs, you'd change that box. If it's career wins, you'd change that box. If it's cheer places, you'd change that box. And the same would go, if you wanted to change and find jockeys who have won on the horse today that they're riding 3 times or more, you change the win drop box and apply. So those 5 horses today have all been ridden by the jockey that's currently listed to ride them, and they've won on them that number of times. So Cool Barranca, who's in the 4 o'clock at Newcastle, has been ridden by Miss E. Sayer 57 times, and she's won on it 9 times. And you know, that was found quickly from applying that criteria. Anyway, going back, so that's what all the different 0 drop downs mean. And minimum means it's at least the number that you're displaying. So because to start with they're all set at 0, it's showing every horse, because every horse is obviously done each at least 0 times. And then the next 5 are as well the same idea. So you change, if you wanted horses who have won for the trainer at least once, you change that drop down, etc. The next options across the middle, second bottom row here, the min odds you can change. So if you say, let's just set it really high, 66 to 1, and click apply. Well, we change that back to 0. Then you're just getting, that's the statistics for every horse today that's 66 to 1 or over. And then, so I mean, max odds is obvious. You could change that. Let's just do it anyway for an example. So min odds, set that at thingy, but let's just set the max odds at say 8 to 1. And click apply. And then the table just shows any horse who is 8 to 1 or less today. And the minimum official rating, you could set that to say 55, apply. Now we've got all horses today who are 8 to 1 or less and rated 55 or more. And then the age type, that's the classification of the race itself. So if you're looking for races that are for 3-year-olds and only older, you could click that, then click apply. As you can see, each time we change it, our preference is saved. And this is a good example actually that we can enter a name in this bit here, save these settings for future use. So let's just call this example for video. Save. Now let's go somewhere else and then go back to the tool. Recall saved settings. You'll see it brings them all back in. So it just means you don't have to keep setting it up every day. If you have a particular type of criteria that you look at each day, you can apply it. We looked at the report options previously for, you can just choose a certain race. The only thing is to note, if you choose a race and your parameters don't allow, I'm going to deliberately set stupid odds, you'll get a message saying no matching horses, please check your criteria. That's because there's no horse in that race that's that price, which I would hope is self-explanatory. We looked at the show all columns, which allows you to just show those you've changed, and the sort option, again, you could change nothing and just say show me, sort it by distance wins, and it'll again list everything and sorted by who's won the most times over the distance in this example, which again is our friend Red Cape, which it takes a bit of common sense in these things. If you've got a horse that's ran that many times, then it's going to keep appearing. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be worth backing. And that is Stat Attack Extra. So just a real quick look at it and what it does. If you've got any problems or any suggestions or anything like that, then please do, as always, give me an email, and I will talk to you soon. Cheers.